I have a question. Is it better to rent or buy a home? Like, actually, because I always see those videos of those rich people saying that renting is better and they themselves rent, but I'm like 99% convinced that they are invested in real estate somehow. Like, they own real estate, so they would benefit from convincing us that renting is better so that we would rent their shit.
Al, I'm a huge fan of your content. I watch a little bit more of it than I would like to admit, so I'm really excited that I might be able to help you with something. So, to preface this, I'm an advisor. I help people make decisions like this for work. I own a home, but I don't own any rental real estate, so my take might be a little bit biased, but I don't benefit when other people rent. There are definitely companies out there that want you to stay renting. There is a company called American Homes for Rent. They own like 200,000 homes. They make money when you rent. And then you zoom out to the big asset managers, Blackstone and BlackRock. They own millions of single family homes. They and their investors make money when you rent. But that being said, renting is still a really good way to go because rent is the maximum you're going to pay. The mortgage is the absolute minimum. So it's just a little too easy to be house poor nowadays. I think what has really changed is this idea of a starter house. For most people, like our grandparents and their grandparents, the idea was that you bought a house right out of college, had like 4 kids, and then immediately used that house and the equity in it to go buy your next house that you actually want to live in. This doesn't really work anymore. Homes have become more of a liability than an investment because of interest rates and just the sheer lack of affordability. And as far as total returns go, buying a primary residence is a really bad investment. It's not something that's really going to make you a whole bunch of money down the line, especially when you think about how much you need to pay into it. The hope is just that you can get as much out of it as you put in.
Shit, I just don't trust it. It's not as if any one of us could afford to buy regardless, but if we could, which one makes more sense financially? So, yeah. All right, thanks.
If we assume that the starter home just isn't really a thing anymore, then the best case scenario is to rent as long as possible until you can get into a home that you want to live in for the rest of your life, right? You want to spend decades there. You know you want to be in that city or that neighborhood. You know you want to start a family. It's really about all of those intangible reasons to buy a home, like painting the walls or doing something like that, rather than the financial element. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the urgency is now gone because there's no need to get into that starter home as quickly as possible so that you can roll it over into the next one and do the next one as quickly as you can. It's more about being really disciplined over the long term and then just buying one house in your life. Like if you just buy one house, you're good. That's not the way our grandparents approached it at all. And I generally tell people that they should save 15% for retirement and then another 5% for a big purchase like a house. And so for some people, it might take them a decade to use that 5% to build up enough to make a down payment. And for other people, it might happen within months or years. Like it might be a very quick thing. So really it's about using a piece of your income towards this long-term goal rather than spending your entire life savings to get into a home as quickly as you can. So when you do inevitably get to that point where you can buy a house, my rule for readiness is that the mortgage payment needs to be less than 25% of your total income, and you need to be ready to live in it for 10 plus years because that's really the only time the investment starts to make sense over renting.